Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending from where you are watching this video from. Today, we are going to talk about the importance of genotype check before marriage. The importance of genotypes check before marriage. Sometimes when people get into relationship before marriage, maybe you are going for marriage course in your various churches, the doctor or the pastor or the father or the priest will advise you to go and do the genotype check. This check is important to prevent future problems that may arise as a result of ignorance. In this check, you know the compatibility of your genes with that of your partner. Now, what is genotype? Genotype means the genetic constitution of an individual organism. That is, the total number of genes transferred from parents to their offsprings. Just like I said, these genes will have 46 chromosomes, 23 in the father, 23 in the mother. And these 46 chromosomes combined make up the individual constituent of a person. And these genotypes, it can be homogeneous recessive, homogeneous dominant, and heterozygous. Homogeneous recessive, homogeneous dominant, and heterozygous. The homogeneous dominant and the heterozygous genotype shows the phenotype. The phenotype here means the physical characteristics of an individual, which is the outcome of the interaction of the genotype with the environment, which depends on the gene, and they are dominant. Example, the size, your body size, your color, your behavior. These are the phenotype of the organism. Sometimes, when an individual is born, there are certain traits in that individual that are dormant inside the person that doesn't appear in the first filial generations. For instance, like now, there are certain traits in me that are dormant, which were transferred by my parents to me, but they are dormant inside me, which don't show, which I don't exhibit, but they appear in my children, which are the second filial generations. So there are some genes are dormant, while some genes are visible, conspicuous, known as recessive genes. We have the dormant genes, those that are inside you that have not manifested for the first time. Maybe when you get married and give birth to your children, they equally appear in your children. So, for instance, some people might have this albino trait in their generations. Maybe your grandfather has an albino trait in him, or your grandmother. Maybe your parents didn't get that albino trait in them when they were born. But when they gave birth to you, one of your siblings might be albino. Some parents may say maybe one of the parents cheated. Sometimes you have to look back from the history of your generations, whether there's a trait of that albino trait in that generation, in the generations before. So not everything is that somebody has cheated, somebody has cheated. No, you have to look back in the generations that came before, whether there has been a trait of such a trace that has existed before. Because certain traits are dormant, they don't appear in the first filial generation. Maybe in your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, they will appear. So let's talk about the types of genotypes, the genotype in humans. In human beings, we have the following genotypes. We have the AA, we have the AS, we have the AC, and we have the XS. The AA type genotype is the best. If the two partners are AA, is good for this is the best genotype for or compatibility for partners to get married. Now, the AC genotype is very rare. Maybe in every 100%, 100 individual, you get it in one person. It's very rare. But the three most common type of human genotype are the AA, which is the normal, the best for marriage. We have the AS, which is the carrier. The AS genotype is the carrier. You have the AS, which is the sickle cell genotype. So when you are advised to go for a genotype test during courtship before entering into marriage, which is very important, make sure your partner is AA, because if both of you are AA, you will get 4 healthy your children will be healthy. But if you are an AA and you marry an AS, maybe a healthy normal human genotype marries a carrier which is AS. Let's say you have 4 children. 3 of your kids will be normal and 1 will be carrier which is AS. Now, that one can be managed. But if you are an AS and marries an AS, there is a tendency, if you have 4 children, 2 of your children will be normal. 1 will be a carrier, which is AS, and 1 will be a secular, which is SS. Now, if you are an AS, never try it to marry an SS, because if you marry an ASS, you will get 1 carrier, which is, if you have 4 children, you will get 1 carrier, which is AS, and 3 seculars, which is 3 SS children. And this is the worst. If you are XS genotype, don't marry another SS genotype, because all your children will be seculars. Please make sure you do this genotype test. It's very, very important in relationship and courtship going into marriage. Save your children those stress of suffering them in this world. Maybe a man of God or a priest told you this man is compatible. You did that you have prayed, he's compatible, and you went and you go for genotype and they tell you this is bad. You say man of God has said. After all, what God cannot do does not exist, my dear. Not in every situation, not in every case that what God cannot do does not exist. For there's a maxim that says, heaven help those who help themselves. Make haste while the sun shines. The earlier, the better. Don't go because a man of God has telling you that this man is compatible, and when you go for this check and they tell you that you are not compatible, you say man of God said this, a priest said this. No, a woman of God said this. Don't go into that temptation, because what will happen to you in future, you will regret. And when that thing happens to you, maybe you have sickly children among your children, and the consequences start, and the children start having crisis. That man of God will not, he will deny you. He will tell you, let's be praying, whereas your child is dying. So don't bring in children into this world to suffer them. Go and know your genotype before you go into marriage. If you are a carrier, don't marry an SS. If you are, the best genotype for marriage is AA, marry an AA. To all your children will be healthy. If you are AS and you marry AA, if you have 4 children, 3 will be normal and 1 will be carrier, which is manageable. But if you are AS and marry SS, if you have 4 children, you have 1 normal child and 3 seculars. If you are SS, my dear, don't marry SS. Don't even marry AS, because you are going to have sickling children. Please save yourself this stress. Don't blame anybody in future. Don't say you have not been warned. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Health is wealth. Take care of your health, serious. They say love is blind, but not in all cases. Go and do your genotype test to save you all this embarrassment, confusion, and regress in the future. So take care, be careful, and take care of yourself. Follow me, you get it? Follow me on this page for more. See you, and do have a nice day. May God bless us and bless us, grant us our heart desire, and give us the wisdom and knowledge and the spirit of discernment to know the truth. And for the truth will set you free. When you know the truth, act upon with it, and it will help you in life. Have a nice day, and see you some other time. Bye.